Alright guys, so today you are going to learn how to write and solve equations with subtraction. We will be using the property of equality as well as the inverse operation to solve for your variable. So let's set a reminder. What is the property of equality? Well, it turns out I am 43, so we know that 43 equals 43. That is a true statement. Now that might seem silly, but look at this. Does 43 equal 12? Obviously not. This would be a false statement. You would know that that's not true. So it is important that your equation is true. Oftentimes, you will see that you'll get a problem wrong. Maybe you did 2 plus 4 and you thought it was 7 on the test and it was wrong, right? Well, really what that means is that both sides of your equation, they weren't equal. This isn't true. And so they were basically just telling you that's not true. And so going back to here, we know that 43 equals 43. And the property of equality, what it's telling us is that whatever I do to one side, so I'm going to add 3 here, and I'm going to add 3 to this side. And because I do it to both sides of my equation, the property of equality says it remains true. So watch. Oh, if I actually add those, that's true. It is still a true statement. That I can even subtract from both sides. Watch. I'm going to subtract 10. And here I'm going to actually look at it as 5 and then subtract 5 more because we know that that's still subtracting 10, right? And what do I end up with? 36 equals 36. Yowzers. Look at that. This is the property of equality, and what it does is it allows you to treat equations almost like it's clay. You're able to do different things with it. You're able to mold it and change it and make it so that you can actually, in the end, in algebra, solve for an unknown. Let's try something else. Let's see. Let's see if this really works. Does this work with division? Let's see. I'm going to divide this by 6. I'm going to divide this side by 6. Therefore, equality says do it to both sides, divide this by 6, and look what I get. 6 equals 6. Hey, it works. It works with, how about with multiplication? All right, I don't know. Let's multiply both sides by 3. And look what happens. 18 equals 18. So it turns out there's actually the property of equality for subtraction, addition, multiplication, and division. And whenever see how I used it for addition? This would be the property of equality for addition. Here I used it for subtraction. I used the property of equality for subtraction. Here I used it for division. So that would be the property of equality for division, and so forth. So I'm using this property to solve my algebraic equations. And so how are we on time? That took 3 minutes. That's not bad. So let's take a look at the problem. Here we have x minus 7 equals 14. Now you might be thinking, duh, that's 21, but nope, we want to follow the steps I've laid out. And your future teachers will ask. So I'm going to draw a line here. Not all teachers do that, but I think it helps when you're starting. And you want to ask yourself, what's happening to x? Well, they're subtracting 7, okay? And I want to get x by itself. So what is the inverse of subtracting 7? Well, the inverse of subtraction is addition. So we want to add 7. And if you stop there, it's wrong. And this is where the property of equality comes in. I added 7 to this side, therefore I must add 7 to this side. And now what do I have? I have x plus 0 equals 21. All right, or x equals 21. And so we have to ask ourselves this. Is this right? Well, you check it. I know x is 21, and here I have x. So you need to put in 21 for x. Subtract 7. Does that equal 14? It does. It does. 14 equals 14. And we're back to a true statement. That is absolutely true. And so now you can actually check your own work. All right, let's try another one. How about y minus 6 equals 8? All right. What's happening to y? They're subtracting 6. So we want to get y by itself, so therefore we want to work with this equation. We want to move this. We want to get rid of it. We want to cancel it out. So what's the inverse of subtracting 6? Add 6. Can I stop there? No. I have to do it to both sides. So if you look at this, this is interesting. These are actually opposites. And if you remember on the number line, when we talked about opposites, what was the opposite of 5? It was negative 5. And we knew that if you add the opposites, they cancel each other out. That's what you're doing with adding and subtracting, to cancel out constants that are being added and subtracted. You're actually pairing it with its opposite. Look at that. Those are opposites. That's why it gets 0. And so I'm not going to even write 0. I'm just going to kind of skip that step because I know it goes to 0 equals 14. All right, well, you have to check it. Put in 14 for y. 14 minus 6 equals 8. And if you're confused with what I just did, all I did was this. I'm saying y is 14. Look at your original equation. Y is 14. All right, I can put that value there, and so all I did was rewrite it here. And this allows me to check it. What's 14 minus 6? 8. Does 8 equal 8? Yes. Please don't be lazy about this step, because sometimes what will happen is kids will do this. They'll make a mistake and they'll do something like this. Maybe they'll accidentally multiply and they're like, y is 48? Right? And then, so then when you go to check it, this is a mistake. They write 48 for y minus 6 is 8. And you know what they do? They're just like, okay. And they skip this step of really checking it. They're like, they're so used to being right, they skip it. Don't skip it. Actually subtract it. That's 42 equals 8. Is that true? No. So what that tells you is that there's a problem here. And then you have to go back and find the problem. Now some of you are like probably are happy. Yeah, I can check my own problem. Some of you are groaning like, I don't want to do that. But that's the whole point of this, is to be able to do math accurately. And then what's nice is you now have a way to check yourself. All right, let's do one more before we go on. We're good. All right, how about 9 equals a minus 5? There we go. All right, we draw my line. What's happening to a? We're subtracting 5. So what's the inverse of subtraction? Addition. So we're going to add 5. Add 5. All right, these are opposites, so it goes to 0. So I'm not going to even write it. So a equals 9. I'm going to do my a like that. All right, so let's check that. Let's rewrite our equation. 9 equals a. Well, what's a? 9. 9 minus 5. Wait a second. Does 9 equal 4? No, there's a problem, right? That's not true. So where's my problem? So let's go back and check. I subtracted 5. Yeah, that's nothing. So all I have left is a. But 9 plus 5 is not 9. What is it? It's 14. You see how that works? Therefore, I must put in 14 for a. Right? A. What's 14 minus 5? 9. Does 9 equal 9? Yeah. So this is true. Nicely. Nicely done. Nice. So, let's go to page 538. 538. And let's take a look at number 1, which is a minus 5 equals 9. Is that right? I wish I wrote 5. And here's number 2. B minus 3 equals 7. Is that what it says? Yeah. All right. So, draw your line. What's happening to A? I'm subtracting 5. So what is the inverse? Well, it's addition. Let's do the opposite. So, now we have this 0, so I'm not going to even write it. A equals what? 14. Didn't we just do this problem? So, check it. A minus 5 equals 14. Well, what is A? That's not my original equation. Here's my original equation. A minus 5 is 9. Well, what's A equal 14. So I will put that in. What's 14 minus 5? 9 equals 9. So it's true, I got that right. All right, you try that one. Pause it. All right, good job. So you should have drawn your line. What's happening to B? We're subtracting 3. So add 3 to both sides. Now we have B, because that goes down to 0, equals 10. All right, let's see if that's true. Rewrite your equation. See, I'm going to rewrite it. Equals 7. What is B? I now know it's 10. I solved for it. So here we have now 10 take away 3 is 7. Keep my 7. Is 7 equal 7? Yeah. So it's true. I got it right. Let's try number 3 and then number 4. Number 3. Number 3 says 4 equals y minus 8. All right. You go for it. All right. So what's happening to y? We're subtracting 8. So what's the inverse? Add 8. So that gives me 12 equals y. That's 0, so I don't need to write it. So y equals 12. We'll make sure that's right. So let's recopy our equation. All right, all I did was copy it again. Do I know what y is now? Yeah. So I'm going to put 12 in. 4 equals 12. Take away 8, which is 4. Is that true? Yeah. Therefore, I got it right. So let's try a word problem. It's going to be hard to do. So you always define your variable first. Number 4 says Catherine studied 1.25 hours for her science test. This was 0.5 hours less than what she studied for her algebra test. Write an equation, a subtraction equation, write and solve a subtraction equation to find how long she studied for her algebra test. So we're going to have A equals time studied for algebra. This is really important to find your variable. That's what we are looking for. And then let's go back and see what kind of information we have to write our equation. Catherine studied 1.25 hours. So Catherine, you're famous. She studied 1.25 hours. And then it says, this was 0.5 hours less than she studied for her algebra test. So, what is it saying? It's saying that this, what is this referring to? Well, it's referring to what they said in the previous statement. And then it says is. This is. And so basically, is means equals. And then what does the rest say? This, or this was, which is was is equals, was 0.5 hours less than what? So we know we're subtracting that. Less than what? Less than our algebra test. And I don't know what that was. That's why I decided, and I knew that. That's why I have a variable. And so, there it is. I just set up my algebraic equation. All right, now guess what? You can solve it. What's happening to A? Well, they're subtracting, so we need to do the inverse operation of adding 0.5. So therefore, I must add 0.5. Make sure you line up your decimals. A equals what? 1.75 hours. Now, don't be a fool. Let's check it. Rewrite your equation. Here it is. Now, do we know what A is? Yeah. So let's see. Put it in there. Subtract. And guess what? Hopefully I fit. It works. When I subtract that, I get they equal each other. And therefore, it is correct. All right, guys. Make sure you subtract. Make sure whatever you do to one side, you do to the other.